First things first, my peeps, come first. Beta Games TV, why always me? Another episode 57. Good looking out, everyone in the comments. Appreciate it. I got a special show. Because this show is not just gonna be with me. I know my Beta Games TV peeps. It's not just me. I sent the link out to the fam. I know that I'm gonna get a chance to have Adam chime in. Man runs amazing spaces. Hopefully, Gundalorian, Mancunian Way, Martin, and some of the other peeps are going to be able to join. But let me do this. Real quick. You know what it is. If you're new, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss future shows. Okay. On top of that, comment, interact with the show. Let me see you in the comments. If there's something that I say that you're like, yo, Vader, you're tripping. That's crazy. Let me know. If there's something that you agree with, first hit that like button because you like it, and then let's conversate. Let's have the conversation. You know what I mean? Now, you see the topics right there. What I have to do, based out here in Toronto, I got to share that Toronto love, that Toronto vibe, because you know what it is. You may not have been here. If you have, fantastic. If you haven't, here's a little imagery for you to see what Toronto is like just a little bit. Check this out, do a proper intro, and we're going to get into the show. Let's go. Okay. If you're getting here by accident, you stumbled upon the channel, or if you're here because you see my tweets, you get the notification based off of following me on the YouTube channel. Fantastic. However you got here, thank you for being here. We got some important things from a city standpoint to talk about. We also have a lot of important things from a football perspective to talk about. And I'm going to start from the top. I work my way down. Unlike Drake starting from the bottom, I'm going to start from the top. All right? If you didn't have the conversation with your peeps, we're going to have it here together. That's my reminder. Boom. We're on time here. Now, the UCL round of 16 and the draw. And I'm going to go through a few topics before I get the peeps involved here. And thanks for being patient. This UCL round of 16 draw, I'll be honest with you, I'm out here in Toronto, time zone wise. It was already done, dusted, decided before I saw it. But the fact that there were a few clubs, and we talked about this on last week's show, a few clubs that we could actually fall and play against. I'm going to be honest with you from a city standpoint, who we've lined up with. And if you don't know RB Leipzig, I'm cool with it. I'm cool with it because it's the UCL. There's really no easy matches, or there shouldn't be, right? This is Champions League. There shouldn't be any easy matches. There's not supposed to be. So to be put up against RB Leipzig, which we played against, who we've had success versus, I'm okay with it. And hear me out. The reason why I'm okay with it is because I think the more you're battle tested to get to go through the stages. And let me shout out my guy, True City fan Patrick in the building. What it do, my brother? Thank you. To be battle tested in the Champions League can only serve you better when you go further into the tournament. My guy Charlie in the building. Great convo today. Thanks for being involved. We're going to get this going soon. But this round of 16 and having this be up against RB Leipzig, a team that is actually in very good form, excellent attacking form. They set things up really nice. They set things up really nice because it's going to have to keep City on its P's and Q's, City sharp. And again, selfishly, I think with a matchup like this, Pep has got to be on point. He can't be creative. He's got to respect the opponent, and he's got to respect the opponent offensively as well as defensively. And that's what I like about this matchup. I think it's going to be a great amount of consistency required from us as a club for the players throughout this range. And again, if you missed anything with regards to Champions League content, check out True City Fan, check out Pitch Points, Football and Chills. Check that out, as well as the Mancunian Way. They've all covered that in greater detail. I was luckily fortunate enough to be on their panels, and we had the conversation. But when I just want to touch on it, for those of you that may not have seen me on those channels, the Champions League round of 16 is key for us just to remain intense, for us to remain sharp. And I think that bodes well for us. I don't think we should be stressing about it. Again, let's hold our hands up. We could have been faced against a quote-unquote tougher opponent. And again, let's be honest, PSG would have been a tough opponent. However, I do think we have the ability to deal with them well as well. Now, let me shout out, my dude YSK in the building. Charlie, can't believe Holland has been called up for Norway next week. Charlie, that threw me for a loop. And I didn't want to discuss it, but we can't fault some of these nations. The quality of players that we're able to have, and for players that actually get into their own and play up to the quality that they are exhibiting week after week under Pep and under City. How do we blame some of these nations to call these players up? I'm not happy with it, but we do know that the level of sophistication, the level of investment that we put in this player, we've actually committed medical staff, training staff with regards to Holland. So I'm a little calm with it, but yeah, crazy news. Now, I'm happy with the round of 16, where it hits with regards to timing within the schedule. Again, went into greater detail on Pitch Points as well as Mancunian Way, so check into that. But it falls in a nice pocket. I wish I had that on screen. We could run through it. But it falls in a nice pocket. I think we play Nottingham Forest. I think we don't. Damn, this is going to sound so bad. We don't play any heavy hitters. So it's nice. Now, the unfortunate part is, where I do remember from the homework that was done, is that they are away games. They are away games, so that does play out to be a little challenging. But let's all be calm. Let's all be calm. I think it suits well. We should also, and I don't even know if it's out yet, but to find out when the next round is, where that falls within the calendar, that's going to be the crazy part. And again, City fan here, I'm not looking past our opponents in RB Leipzig. I'm not doing that. But as you're looking at your calendar, potentially traveling to some of these matches, that's important to keep in mind. I'm doing my best. I'm doing my best to be able to travel over the pond and hit a home game and a Champions League game if possible. But let's keep that on the wraps. Charlie goes, why are they even having friendlies? Hey, Charlie, I don't know. I don't get it. Maybe it's, I don't know. Maybe it's the whole inclusion thing, right? Teams that don't make it are still playing to remain involved. I could not tell you, man. I could not tell you. Now, I'm gonna be sharper this week with regards to that. So here we go. Let me do this. Cool. Vader games. Now, same thing. Let me be real with you. The fact that I have this show later in the week and it's not reactionary like day after with regards to some of the results, and then I love and appreciate you having the combo with me, maybe for the second, third time, but on my channel and with me. This City Fulham game, all right? I said this before, and I'm probably going to be a little more intricate with it, maybe a little more elegant with how I say it, because the first time around, you kind of flunder around. We can't avoid last season, and we should never avoid last season. All right? Experiences of the past, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. What we've had to evolve past, what we've had to work our way through, season after season after season, pays dividends in the present and will pay dividends in the future. Last season, the battle that we had to close out that season, the fight that was required mentally, physically, emotionally from the players, from the staff, from the coaching, from the manager, and from the fans. You can never forget the fans, because the fans play a part. All of that last season is showing how good, how important, how impactful things are this season. Okay? I know it was hard in the Champions League. I know it was draining. You've heard many people talk about, I had to take a break off of football. I had to just go on holiday. I had to reset my mind. What happened last season was difficult. But the fight that was required from the players, let me take that back. The disappointment that happened last season, Champions League versus Real Madrid, but then the fight that was required to close out that season and make sure that Premier League title was won. That fight, that determination, that resiliency that every player showed, players currently on the squad and have gone, that fight is paying off dividends now. These players in this Fulham game, and you look at the Fulham game, many things weren't going our way. And I'll be the first to tell you that red card on Cancelo was not a red card. And the reason why I'm saying it was not a red card is because not a week later, the next day, same situation, defensive player on an attacker on his way to score a goal, pushed in the back, no call. So when I'm on Twitter and I'm saying, yo, this is a foul, I didn't think that was a red card, or we're having the conversation, to have that point of view, then the next day, same situation, no red card given, I'm feeling justified. I don't know if you agree with me, but I'm feeling justified. Now, a lot of those things didn't go our way, but what I love and what I listen to, because obviously I'm watching the game, I'm hearing this, the fans and how they push that team to continue to fight, The players and how they fought being a man down, 10 versus 11 against Fulham. The manager that also set them up to dictate play as opposed to having play dictated to them. I love how they fought that through. City were full-time fighters. They fought to the very last minute of that game. And I love that they've been showing that on the regular. They've shown that on the regular even since last season. And I know that it's going to be something that's going to be called upon throughout this entire title challenge that we happen to have with Arsenal. We are going to have to fight every last minute in every game to the end of the season. Whether our ops can do the same thing, we'll have to wait and see. But we're showing that we can do that. And that game, if you just tuned in, you didn't know who had a red card, you would have assumed Fulham were a man down. The way we were dictating play, the way we were controlling possession, the way we were attacking them. We were 10 versus 11, but we looked like we had the man advantage. I love the performance that we saw. It was absolutely amazing. And to be able to count on your fellow player. So that squad, City players looking at each other and knowing that they can count on each other to cover space that's normally required for 11, but it was 10. That type of effort, that type of trust, huge, absolutely huge. Let me go to this comment real quick. Yo, YSK goes, yep, you could feel the atmosphere sitting at home. Yo, you could feel the atmosphere, you could hear the atmosphere. It was quality, absolute quality. And that's why I enjoy being able to talk to other City fans, right? Being international, be able to talk to some of the home fans, hear it, whether it's in the spaces on some of these YouTube channels, definitely connecting with, a person like Martin and Mancunian Way and friends of his. Being able to tap into that was huge. And I love how the squad performed. I absolutely love it. It was like one hand behind our back, playing against an opponent that's using both hands. Or if you want to go old school, for those of you that may not know, if you want to go old school, picture the Kung Fu movies. I don't know if I'm showing my age right now. You can see the platinums in the beard. But in old school Kung Fu movies, the sensei, the master would, blindfold their pupil, the young one. They would blindfold them and make them have to hone their skills. Right? Or they would say they'd have to fight, again, one hand behind their back, or they would have to fight and not have to use their legs. Things like that. I love that we were battle tested to have to win a match, a man down, and we did. So out goes the window, City not being proficient or able to win games. Well, win games with a man down. Out goes the window in terms of we weren't down, but we drew. And for us to actually mount a comeback, I absolutely love that attack. Let me go to this comment real quick. YSK goes, also, big up Pep as well for making substitutions. And YSK, absolutely right. Absolutely right. The fact that Pep did not do the let's see the boys work themselves out of this. Let's see how they figure this out. He was like, listen, starting 11 that I have, y'all did your thing, but y'all doing your thing was based off of 11 versus 11. It's now 10 versus 11. You covered so much ground, so much pitch. See the mileage you put in. Let me bring on some fresh legs and win this. Absolutely love the performance. Absolutely love the performance. All right, let me go to this. YSK, what you got? That's probably some Bruce Lee movie. How? No, YSK. Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan. Go check out Drunken Master. Mad movies. Trust me. Even if you want to go early 90s, you want to go Van Damme, not the best movies, but you want to go to some of those Kickboxer and Bloodsport. Some qualities. Don't be rude out here. All right, let me go. Let's go. Let's do this. Vader games. All right. Now, the Carabao Cup, third round. We face Chelsea. And I want to hear you in the comments. And I'm gonna bring in my guy Adam. He's backstage right now. Fantastic spaces. If you're on Twitter and you want to not only interact with other City fans, but you want to interact with rivals, you want to interact with neutrals and just have convos. Sometimes the convos aren't even purely football related. They're life related, but it's calm, it's respectful. Sometimes it can get a little rowdy, but that depends on who's in that space at the time. But Adam has fantastic spaces. I'm glad that I'm able to have him on the show today. And, we're going to talk a little bit about City, the Carabao Cup, and obviously address some of these other movements happening by rivals. So, Adam, my guy, thanks for being a part of the show. How you doing, man? You're on mute if you're talking right now. And if you aren't available, that's cool because I probably didn't give you enough lead time. So I'm going to wait for you to come back. So let me do this. I'm going to big him up when he comes back. But let me do this. The Carabao Cup has us playing Chelsea, and I want to hear from you in the comments. This is the thing that's really important. And let me put this on screen. I want this. I want this win. And the fact that it's against Chelsea, I want it comfortably. I want it, how should I say? I just want it done properly. I just want it done professionally, respecting our opponent, and going for the win. Now, I'm trying to find the right, where we go here. What happened here? I'm trying to put this up. No, that's not it. Bear with me. But I'm trying to put this matchup on the screen. But let me talk to it at first. Because we're playing against Chelsea, I'm gonna tell you this. I want it. I don't like Chelsea. I don't like Chelsea for many reasons. Many of us don't like Chelsea for many reasons. All right. Most recently, the fact that just a couple of seasons ago was us going back and forth, and obviously them doing their thing that that 1-0 win in the UCL. But I want this, and I want this because it's the winning ways. There's new players on this team. There's new players that don't have this trophy. I want us to pursue that. I don't want the arrogance. I don't want the misplaced cockiness to not treat competition with respect, right? All competition should be respected, whether it's the Carabao Cup, whether it's the long-standing FA Cup, Premier League, Champions League, all those matter. All those matter. So I want us to go out there. I want us to go out there and win it. And because it's against Chelsea, I especially want it. Now, here's what I would ask. I would ask that we put out our best available 11. I want our best available 11. Boom. We deal with business. We see how they set up, like, because in all fairness, no shade, no salt, no disrespect. But if we want to think about what Chelsea may be winning this season, yes, I know they're in the Carabao, they're in the FA Cup, they're also in Champions League, and they probably have a shot. Many wouldn't say that they do, but they probably have a shot at being top 4. Not necessarily winning, but they have a chance of being top 4. Now, that's a few things that they could realistically go after. If you ask every Chelsea fan, I don't think that they believe that they could win anything based off of the competition around them. So they're going to go after this. I believe they're going to go after this. I don't want them to have it. I want us to have it. So let's put out this best possible 11. Let's handle business. And then let's deal, or not deal with them, but let's then inject our youth, inject the players that don't necessarily start. Let's give them that shine, but let's handle business. Let's handle business and deal with this Carabao Cup, because I don't want the negativity of not playing well and then being exited out of here. Let me look at this real quick. YSK goes, no one likes Chelsea. I want them knocked out too. Yo, facts. And so again, we can expect them to put forth a strong 11. Their best possible 11. Potter doesn't have anything to say, this is what my accomplishments are. Here's what my trophy case is. He's building his resume. Him building his resume is not only going further in this cup, but it's also getting a win off Pep. Win off Pep as a Chelsea manager. I don't want that. I hope you guys all agree. I want the best possible 11. YSK goes, Best possible 11 indeed. I'm agreeing with you. That's what we need out here. That's what we need out here, and we deal with the case. All right? We deal with that case. Oh, I realized I wasn't even putting that on screen. Let me see.
Vader games.
Now, I'm going to try my best. I'm going to try my best to be calm. I'm going to absolutely do my best to be calm. And let me also make sure I do this before I go any further. Do this. Okay. Boom. Now, I told you I'm going to be calm. I'm going to be calm. I've taken some time. I've reflected on things. I've taken some time and said, you know what? Am I being harsh? Am I being extra about this? You know, where's this energy coming from? I tend to do that. You know, not to get too personal, but we will over time. The more I do this channel, like I said, this is my opportunity once a week to really diary my football thoughts and ideas. In the future, I don't know if any of you watch Black Mirror, but in the future, when they start making robots or AI, maybe all this content that's pulled from here is going to create the ability for there to be a Vader Games robot or android or whatever. But that's for another time. Let me chill. Now, I've taken some time to think about this. The start of this season, we saw a few rebrandings from clubs, right? We saw the exodus of Abramovich at Chelsea. And we all know the history of Chelsea with regards to managers and players and how quickly they go through managers. New owner made few decisions that, or sorry, few comments, few statements that was actually to change what many know Chelsea to be, right? And many have called for it. We saw a rebrand from Liverpool, club that sells to buy, right? They got to sell to buy. But if we really look at this past offseason, how much selling did they do? But they did do some substantial buying. Yeah, I know Mane left, but Nunez came in half a season before that. Diaz came in. They've done their thing. They spent. Another rebrand, interesting enough, is with regards to United. United new manager. Less of the splashing cash and throwing money. Like the whole rebound was to be strategic, right? Be strategic with the spending. They still had the protests and the owners out type commentary, but that's died down. It's died down. I believe United are top 6 in the league. Things are trending, so a lot of that owner out talk has calmed down. But there was a whole kind of rebrand with the Ten Hag coming in. We're gonna do things right. Okay. And even before Ten Hag, you had Ragnick, and it was supposed to be Mr. Analytical, clean house and things of that nature, doing their best not to be a commercial club. Now, we got Arsenal. Past 3 seasons, trust the process, the project, Arteta, eighth, couple seasons, 5th last season, and this season, Arsenal fans won't say it, but they're currently first, challenging for the league. All right. Now, a lot of rebrands, a lot of shuffling of ideas and posturing. Right. I'm going to talk about these club rebrands, and we're in November right now. You're good, Adam. No respect, man. We're now on to the rebrands with regards to clubs. I'm gonna put that banner on screen for you, and thanks for tuning in. I had a huge big up. I told people to make sure that they find you on Spaces, the spaces that you put together, and whether you're hosting rivals, neutrals, it's always a good combo. So definitely give Adam a follow. But the club rebrands have been pure comedy for me. I've been loving where things are going. I've been loving how fans are saying one thing in the moment, then completely doing mental gymnastics and saying the absolute other. We're going to deal with Liverpool and their rebrand. And thank you all for tuning in. I got my new to the channel. I got bad boy Billy. He goes FSG out. FSG out. And I'm curious, how long have you wanted FSG out? I'm curious with regards to that, because there was a moment where you were the winning was making sense. The winning was making sense. I wonder how you felt about that. Another comment from my guy goes, Vader Games, how are you feeling about Liverpool getting all the money? We're gonna get into that, my guy. This is the whole rebrand. This is the whole rebrand that we're getting into, and I'm so glad Adam's here, and I'm gonna throw it to him in a second. But clubs and their rebrands has been pure comedy, because I remember the time before the rebrand. I remember the time where City was being slandered. City was being slandered for their oil money. I heard the commentary with regards to other clubs fortunate enough to have owners, I guess, from other areas of the world to choose to invest in football, and they weren't seen to be so favorable. They were seen to actually be ruining football. But now the rebrand is bring on the oil money. We want the oil money. I'm hearing many Liverpool fans switch. They're doing the mental gymnastics. They're doing backflips like the Kung Fu I mentioned earlier. They were doing backflips like ninjas, and they're like, no, bring it on. We're cool with it. We want it. Adam, I want to ask you, my guy, are you surprised at all by how accepting Liverpool fans are with regards to oil money owners?
To be honest with you, I'm not surprised because I used to have spaces where the first thing Liverpool fans will throw at me at the book is, "Oh, you're state owned, this that. If it wasn't for your owners, you would not be nowhere. You're nothing. Da 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 da. X Y Z." But the same people will tell you, your owners, human rights, this that, human rights that, morality, all of this rubbish, are the same people. Yeah, I just find it very hypocritical. If you're gonna say something, stick to your grounds, your beliefs. If you say something before, do not shift the goalposts, because when we had the owners and we were winning things, you were telling me, oh, the only reason why we're succeeding is because of our owners. And, that we're owned by a state, this X, Y, Z, all this. And you know what the funny thing is? I saw on Twitter, but I don't know how true it is. But when I hear Liverpool fans talking out of their us saying, oh, the Kuwaitis are gonna buy us. The Kuwaitis themselves are not interested in it, and they say Abu Dhabi. And you know what I find? You know what baffles me is when people tell me, I heard it from Husam. Husam is your average Joe, like me and you. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I understand. Maybe yeah, he went and asked people. And what is to say you don't know hypothetically? What you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. So for you to be celebrating early, yeah. I, sometimes Liverpool fans they don't read in between the lines. What if
Yeah.
they live? What if FSG ends up selling a percentage like similar to what Sheikh Mansour did, where he sold, say, I think it was 12% to the Chinese company or something, or 20%, sorry, and 10% to Silver Lake. Hypothetically, what if it's that instead of fully selling it? Because if it stays the state, I don't see a I don't see the Middle Eastern owners here say putting saying one
Hmm.
in a small state, because the Middle Eastern guys will want say a controlling state where they control everything and they have a say. Why I say I could see an American owner potentially buying say what say 10 or 20% of the stake and them still
Yeah.
somewhat being happy
So yeah,
with it.
Adam, I'm gonna stop you. I'm gonna stop you because I know exactly where you're getting at. And here's the funny thing, because you said a lot too. There's going to be a lot of speculation, a lot of ideas thrown, and a lot of excitement. Cool. And I realized early that it wasn't a conversation that they were looking to have. It was a let's gas things up. Let's they just wanted to have vibes and celebrate and talk reckless. So I was like, cool, I'll fall back. You know what? I'm gonna give it a day. I thought the conversation would have been more suited. and I see my boy in the backstage. I'm gonna shout you out real quick. But I thought the convo was gonna be a little more balanced. Like, let's talk things through. Still too early. The honeymoon phase for these Liverpool fans, and what the whole speculation is with regards to what was released yesterday. They're moving on vibes, right? So that's cool. That's cool. I'm gonna let them do their thing.
And you know what
But
the crazy thing is, Baker?
yeah,
I saw a report, yeah, on what was it? I don't know how true it is. It could be false on Twitter saying that people that are favored to get Liverpool potentially are an American consortium. So the Liverpool fans are genuinely dancing and celebrating and all of that, saying we want Arab money, all of that. Yeah, they have not even read between the bloody lines of what FSG put up.
yeah, and that's perfect. Adam, quality, my guy. Yo, Druv, we talked about the Chelsea City Caribou preview slightly. We just mentioned with regards to I want my strongest 11. I want my strongest 11. I want us to handle business. I'm speculating. I'm I'm guessing that you're going to do the same. Potter is building his resume. I think for him to get a win off of City, off of Pep, he's really going to put forth his best possible 11. So I think it's going to be a battle. We did talk about it, but I'm sure we'll kind of revisit that as well with more of this conversation. I'm going to bring in, and when it comes to finance, when it comes to strategy, if I have the option, if the availability is there, I'm bringing in this man 100%. I will actually work my channel around his schedule to be able to get his input. Carl Pitch Points. If you haven't been on his channel, check him out, subscribe, and go back to some of his earlier content. More importantly, if you want to look at his video with regards to FFP, this is months ago before it even became trendy, before it became a topic. He broke that down. I was lucky enough to be a part of that conversation. You're going to want that content because it speaks to where FFP is going and why many of these clubs are making the moves that they're moving. So let me introduce my guy, Carl Pitch Points. How you doing, man?
Hey, Vader. How are you, brother?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Thanks for being a part of the show.
Oh, it's a blessing to be here, brother. It's always a blessing to be here.
Thanks.
I had a privilege of listening to you on that Liverpool space earlier today, and I was just rolled on the floor laughing. It was just hilarious. It was hilarious, man. And that sparked a tweet that I tweeted right after that show, where and I think and the tweet I quote. Let me quote the tweet. I said, "Liverpool can't compete with little old City. Meanwhile, FSG are about to make a profit of $4.2 billion from their initial investment of $300 million. So they've made this $4.2 billion profit. How come FSG never leveraged that valuation, that profit, to invest in the club? What they've
exactly
done, they've cooked the Liverpool fans. They're the proverbial frog in the pot that they boiled over. They pointed to the Arabs as the enemy.
Absolutely right. Absolutely
That's
right.
exactly
For
what
you,
they've done.
absolutely. For you youngsters, maybe tune into the channel, and I know YSK, you were joking on me about how old am I, but the reason why Carl made that analogy with regards to cooking a frog is because you don't throw the frog into the boiling hot water. You actually put the frog in a pot of water, and you just slowly increase the heat. You slowly increase the heat, and before the frog knows it, it's dead based off of that. Liverpool fans have been being fed. They've been spoon fed a lot of these acceptable perceptions, and over time they fall for it, being like the owners don't have the ability to invest more within the club, which is absolute nonsense.
Nonsense.
And Carl brings up an absolute great point, and the tweet is out there for you guys to go find and like and retweet it as well. I think that, and I mentioned this to Adam. I'm not sure if you heard it, Carl, but the mental gymnastics that's happening from these Liverpool fans,
it's incredible,
absolutely amazing. To go from bashing and crucifying and saying, City, Chelsea, they're nothing. The money that you've been able to spend or you have is ruining football. for them to now embrace it, and also to your point, claim that they weren't able to compete because they didn't have it is
Well, I want to break this again. This tweet, I want to break it down for the young people who are out there to explain what I meant by that tweet. Okay, so think about this, right? Think about yourself, right? You want to buy a house. Hopefully, you do when you get older. Maybe become 20, right?
Mhm.
You have £300,000 to buy a house, your very first house. Okay, you saved up the money, you buy that house for £300,000. After 20 years, when you're 40 years old, that same house that was £300,000 is now worth £40 million. £40 million. Well, let's just say £45 million, not 4 million, 45 million. And you're telling me that over the whole years that you've had that house, that the value's increased by over £40 million, you've not been able to tap the money and rebuild your house and build a basement and refurbish it and repaint it and do all those things.
Yeah.
Why? Because you're greedy. That's why.
Yeah.
Because you don't care about your house. What you care about is the valuation that you get out of it when you sell it.
Let me add on to.
If you care about that house, you take some money out of the house, you buy new furniture, you paint new walls, you build X, Y, and Z, you do that, you make sure that house is perfect. You'll still keep your money, but take a little bit out of it to reinvest. You haven't done that.
Yeah.
That's where they are right now.
That's amazing. And to piggyback on that analogy, now they took the attitude of someone that was renting. When you're renting, you don't care, right?
Exactly.
So the attitude of that is showing in full force right now, because they were like, nah, we don't really need to big this up. We don't really need to make ourselves part of the neighborhood and establish any friendships, relationships. We know we're out the door, so we're going to invest very little. It's not that they didn't have the ability to, it's that they chose to. And thank you, Mancunian Way says, hit that like button, my friends. If you're new, subscribe as well. But you're bang on, Carl. I love that analogy.
The other part too is the reason why they're doing this, because they've seen that in their minds, the Super League thing may not happen soon. And so how far can this valuation peak? Because Chelsea was sold in May for a valuation of 5 billion. They're looking at it as a comp, as a comparison to say, if Chelsea's 5 billion, surely we're 4.5. Let's cash out while we can right now, because we don't know the future. While we don't know if this will continue on for a long time. So these Liverpool fans, I keep telling you guys, listen, we can troll each other about stuff, but when it comes to numbers and how these guys think in the boardroom, this is facts, clear facts. This is how they think. It's a rent economy. They've rented Liverpool FC out to get the valuation that they need, and now they want to bug out. That's what they've done.
Yo, you're killing me with that analogy. I absolutely love it. Franklin Cap goes, Liverpool pride and joy was about net spend and against rich owners, and it's funny to see them sell out all their principles now. Hey, and I get, Cap, I'm with you. I get the banter part of it, and this is where it was actually kind of funny. I get the banter part of it, and just yesterday I was like, yo, let it flow, let it run. The exchange is great, the jokes are great. And I get it. Maybe it's still too soon. 48 hours isn't enough time. But I thought the conversation was, yo, you know what? Realistically, what does this mean? Is Liverpool looking to outright sell? Is Liverpool looking to sell a portion of themselves for more investment? Whatever. But again, I think Liverpool fans are still in la la land. They want to dream big. It's not for us to say you're right to have your big dreams, but it is funny on how this oil money is so accepted by Liverpool. Let me put up this comment from Mancunian Way. He goes, where is this Liverpool getting oil money from? Have I missed something here? Hey, Martin, we're all on the outside looking in. I'm only going off of what Liverpool fans are chatting and talking about, and they are embracing. They are saying, I want to bathe. Bring on the oil money. I want to bathe. Lather in it.
Let's take that. Let's pull that out. Let's pull that thread. Okay.
Yeah.
Oil money from which oil state exactly? Indonesia?
You're gonna kill some dreams, Carl. You're gonna kill some dreams. All right, go.
Newcastle owned by the Saudis, PIF. They're rich. You have the Qataris owning Paris Saint-Germain. They can't own Liverpool or a club in England anymore, because then the Champions League issue comes up with having ownership owned for two clubs.
Right.
Then you have City with the UAE. Maybe it's Kuwait they're talking about. Maybe Kuwait.
Kuwait.
Lebanon. Maybe it's Husam's country. Maybe it's where's Husam from? Lebanon. Maybe it's Lebanon.
I think it's Jordan.
Okay, maybe it's Jordanian. Maybe it's Jordanian.
Yeah.
Maybe that's where it's coming from. Or maybe Indonesia. Which Gulf state, quote unquote, is going to buy Liverpool? Maybe it's India. Maybe it's an Indian billionaire. But again, what are our money? And listen, if the fans are smart, what they will demand is that if the valuation of our club is 4.5 billion, you invested 300 million, sell equity, right, to raise capital to invest in the club, in the stadium, in infrastructure, and the players. That's what you need to do. But FSG want to check out.
Yeah. So FIFA, my guy, it's not so much of a why do we care about Liverpool. It's not just that, because again, we've had to care about Liverpool from we're pursuing as many wins as possible, and they were the ones challenging us, right? So that's where the attention to Liverpool comes from. I'm not quickly going to now divert my attention over to Arsenal. As much as they're top of the league and they've been showing good form, it's still a matter of being aware within the landscape of football. But I do want to point out that the conversation's interesting because of how hypocritical things have been. That's why it's talked about today, and I find it very entertaining. Another thing too is moving forward, there's going to be many conversations with regards to just new ownership, not necessarily oil money with regards to Liverpool. Like the speculation with regards to them possibly having new owners is why many things came up. And then that led me to this point. And again, maybe I should help hold off on this one because I don't want to crush dreams. I think 48 hours, maybe 72 hours are needed for the Liverpool fans to live the high life, although maybe I'm wrong. But realistically, wrong comment. Realistically it's probably a combination or an American owner or American investors to add on to what Liverpool already have. Realistically, I think. And I put out a tweet earlier today with regards to really a comment that I heard in the spaces, because one of the speakers kind of talked about American owners and what it may mean. And again, everyone has their own approach to how they're going to manage the team and what they're interested in, what their end goal is, whether it's to increase their what I believe many just want to increase on their investment. So that's the move that I'm seeing right now. If I'm going to be as logical as possible, Carl, I think, and Adam, I think the move right now is just for the current owners, FSG, to find or to create an opportunity to have more investment available to them within Liverpool, not so much a sale.
Absolutely, that's probably the right way. The only challenge now, Vader, is the new FFP rules.
Yes,
right? Coming up in 2020, well, next year, actually next year, right? Where they say your income to wages must not be more than, the goal is 70%. So it's not about the equity you raise or the debt you could raise. It's about how much money you can generate. Which means sponsorships, which means commercial revenue, which means player sales. All those things have to go up significantly, which means being in the Champions League, winning the Champions League, winning the Premier. All those things have to be top in order to generate the top line. And you have to make sure your wages, your bottom line, which is your expenses, are lower, so you can comply with the 70% ratio that UEFA has put in place.
Boom, yeah, and when this now, that knowledge.
Just to piggyback on this, when we talked about this in February, we talked about it in detail that UEFA is trying to plan to get to this 70% ratio. We looked at all the clubs: City, Liverpool, United, Newcastle, and City are about, I think, 82%. Liverpool 82%. So we're all above the threshold. Chelsea at 113%. So they're screwed right now, right? If you watch the video, the All or Nothing video, where we had Omar Barada and Chiki talking about this, they talked about the new UEFA rules and the fact that wages income was going to be an issue and that we have to increase their income They talked about that. It's no surprise that you've seen the academy sales last summer to bring that ratio down significantly so they can be in compliance. They're preparing for that next year, which is why you see right now the profit margin they made this year from the revenue that they have, because they're preparing for that threshold starting next year at 90%, 80%, and 70%.
Okay.
In order to be in compliance.
Yeah. And again, that understanding, that knowledge, I'll be honest with you, I didn't get that on my own when I was mentioning it in the spaces. That was me being privy and hearing it from Carl and Patrick, and I believe Ade and even Michael at the time, way back earlier in the year, or even before the year. So that's where I was privy to and trying to bring it up within the spaces. But like I said, Liverpool fans aren't they're not ready to take their feet on the ground. They're living in the clouds right now, so we'll let them do their thing. I also want to say that, and my thumbnail was an honest statement. I don't clickbait. I don't try to do something contrarian. If oil money is available to Liverpool, I want them to have it. I want them to have it. I am absolutely dead tired of the underdog convo, of the manager I can't compete nonsense, of the I claim to have all the best by position, but I still can't win. Okay, so we have this oil money, and dead all your complaining, all your crying, and all your I failed, therefore it's because of the money. I want you to have the money. I want you to lose as well, and then put this story to bed. Because with all of that, and again, with me, sorry, Carl, one second. With me, the city family, my city peeps, how we're able to conversate, I'm cool with it. I don't need acknowledgement from anyone outside of us. But the nonsense that goes on outside of us will die once they get this oil money, and they lose as well. Sorry about that.
The beauty of the season, Vader, is that the nonsense that Klopp spewed about we can't compete has been proven to be a lie. And you know why it's proven to be a lie? Who's top of the league right now?
Right.
Who's top of the league right now?
Absolutely right. Yeah, Arsenal.
So they can't compete with Arsenal? Is that what we're saying? That Liverpool, the mighty Liverpool, cannot compete with Arsenal? They can't compete with Fulham, who's above them. They can't compete with They can't compete with who else is above them? Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
Are we serious? Why do you buy this lie? These guys accountable, Liverpool fans. Hold FSG, hold your manager accountable for buying a striker for $85 million instead of buying a midfielder. Frankie de Jong was available if you made the offer. Chouameni was available last year. Why did you not go for him? Why are you going for Darwin Núñez, who you didn't need?
And I was going to throw that to Adam, because I know Adam knows all of the losses that Liverpool have suffered this season. And what are they now claiming? They're claiming that they couldn't, to your point, they couldn't compete against them. Is that what they were going to try to spew off? Like, it's just pure excuses that we get out of this manager, and it's tired. I'm going to do this, and thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for being involved in the comments. I know I got to catch up on these, but I want to take the time and actually say this. I'm lucky enough to be able to be in some of the group chats, to be on some of the streams with people like Adam, Carl, and the next person that I'm about to introduce. He gives a perspective that I would only be able to have maybe once, twice a season if I'm lucky, being able to travel overseas. The fact that he's a home fan, I value his opinion. I also value his opinion because he tells it how it is, and he's also open-minded to then not necessarily have his mind change, but to have the conversation. And I'm going to introduce my guy, Martin, from the Mancunian Way. Hope you're good, man. Thanks for being on the show today.
Evening. Oh, we're all good.
Evening.
Sorry, I had to jump in when you started this. When this little thing on Liverpool, because there's a false narrative going around at the minute of this. I mean, Liverpool fans have got themselves into a frenzy that some oil money in very, very, how do I put it? Anyway, so some form of oil money is coming in, and it's all fabrication out their own minds. For one, they've not actually read the statement that came out properly, what they've done is they've done what a lot of people do and cherry pick certain words.
Cherry pick certain words. I think we might have lost Martin for a second, but no, we're in agreement. Martin, we're in agreement. Carl read the article, so did but go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean the thing is, Liverpool had a choice this summer. Got to remember, these are the same Liverpool fans who begged everyone to make Mohamed Salah stay, and they wanted this brand new contract. What they've never understood is if you are going to up a contract, and for whatever it was, they upped Mohamed Salah's contract to what? Around was it 380,000 a week? Something like that when it counts. Yeah. Now, what they haven't realised is where does that money come from? It doesn't come out of a separate kitty that they suddenly have. You know, it doesn't come out of a bank vault round the back that they've suddenly found a money tray. It comes out of their money. Now, 380 grand a week over 4 or 5 years is damn well at probably about 80 million quid, 90 million, plus the 85 they splashed out on Núñez. So they've spent the best part of probably 200 million. So what more and they've spent a lot of money on the clock. We're back to this narrative. It's as though they've not spent money. They've all come from Liverpool's academy here. I've never seen Coutinho money go as far as they've actually dragged it. 150 million suddenly turned into 1.5 billion. I don't know how they've done it. And sadly, it comes to a fact of, it's an argument. I said this earlier on a space. I think you heard it, Mayor. It's an argument that will never, ever be won because they don't want to listen to reason. And if you do try and speak to them in an adult way,
they
say you're attacking them and you're jealous and everything else. And it's nothing about that. I have the same issue with Newcastle a little bit now, not because I'm jealous, but because Newcastle seem to think that they can just whack out 100, 150, 200 million every summer, every window. And like Carl says, you've got the new UEFA rules coming in, but as I got told by a Newcastle fan, well, we're getting sponsorship. The sponsorship doesn't come in and go straight onto the books.
Yeah.
It doesn't immediately appear and go, right, I've suddenly got this cash flow immediately.
Yeah.
It doesn't work like this. So
and I
don't know.
This is the thing. No, so the thing is, I think with all of us, there's a little bit of a learning curve. And I've realized this, and a lot of it was with Carl kind of saying, Vader, why are you in those spaces? Like, why are you wasting your time with this? And for me, it was like, it was an education. I was observing. It's kind of like I was in the wildlife, and I was observing how the wildlife interact. And then I realized there's moments within these spaces where it's all about fantasy la la land. They're going to be talking out their butts about what's going to happen in the future, all the hopes and wishes, right? So I think that's where this is at right now. 24 hours, 48 hours. That's where they're at. Now, when things kind of calm down and then it's like time for a logical conversation, what does it actually mean? I think that's where it happens. But what's happening right now with the fan base and some of the quote unquote leaders within these spaces, they just want to dream. They just want to dream, which is okay. They don't want to live. And again, this is where I was like, the privy information that I got, no, I shouldn't say privy because it's there if you want it. If you want to be just as smart as I am with regards to this FFP, and I haven't even studied it fully, but the content that Carl put together with regards to FFP and where it's going moving forward and what he posted on his channel is absolutely fantastic. They're not ready for that combo yet. the fan base aren't ready for that. Newcastle fans, from what you kind of described too, they don't want to think that down those roads as of yet as well. So it's cool. We'll let them dream right now. And again, the sounding like haters when you just bring a different perspective is where it's like, you know what? Okay, I'm not going to take offense to it. You think I'm hating? You don't like what I have to say? You think I'm crashing on your parade? Cool. We'll do this. We'll do this at another time. I don't need to be the one to say I was trying to tell you so a couple days ago. I can wait down the road when you're ready for the conversation.
Vader, do you know what the hypocrisy is in all this? Go back 18 months. Which football club was gonna furlough all their staff?
Yep, I know exactly.
Martin, and this
not one Liverpool fan moaned at that. Not one Liverpool fan. They were all, it's COVID, it's hard times.
Martin, and this is and I'm not trolling again, not trolling. This is the question they need to ask, not just their owners, but the organization that runs the club back there, including Klopp. If the valuation of your club is 4.5 billion, which they've said it is, right, to sell it, and you invested 300 million years ago, from 300 million to 4,500, right, million, 4.5 billion. That's a profit margin of 4.2 billion. Are you telling me you can't leverage that to make sure you to invest and to leverage and to help your staff? No.
And the thing is, Cal,
all it is,
invested
staff, community.
Martin, all it is a financial transaction. There's nothing. It doesn't mean more. All that BS about it means more is absolute tosh. It's all about the rent economy. They leverage it as an asset to generate income and valuation so they can sell it. And when Chelsea was sold for 5 billion, the news flash came on. Wow, we can get 4.5 for investment. Let's get out quick while we can. That's what's going on. And instead of asking the question to their owners and to the board, and that's why Klopp is frustrated, because Klopp knows. Jurgen knows. He knows. Pep Linders today, I watched his press conference yesterday. He knows the deal. But they're covering. They all know. Imagine if City's owners, right, didn't invest in the community, didn't give jobs, didn't build the academy, didn't build all those things that are there. And they went from 300 million to 4.5 billion without investing or selling shares to like the Chinese or to Silver Lake to invest and leverage the City model for CFG. And they just wanted to sell tomorrow
and slip out the back door and say, see you later.
We would have a fit.
FSG have invested though. Look at where did they think the stadium expansion came from?
No, they have absolutely. So with regards, but the point that Carl's also making is they've claimed poor while doing it when they still had the ability to quote unquote invest, compete. Like Martin, the whole argument that they can't compete.
But Martin, you talk about the stadium investment. The stadium investment was to generate more seats, generate more revenue. That's what it was.
Yeah, no, I understand that. But the thing is, they have spent money. They've spent a lot of money.
Of course they have.
The thing is, where I'm hearing it from is Liverpool fans that they're not spending. That's where it's coming from. This rhetoric, it's like United fans. If you actually speak to a genuine United fan, they're not saying they want Glazer out because of the spending. They want Glazer out because of what they're doing to the infrastructure of the club. They're not actually complaining about the spending because they can't complain about the spending. They spent 1.1 billion. How can you complain at the spending?
Yeah, but Carl was also. We were talking about this earlier, and I want to mention this, Martin. It's the mental gymnastics that's happening because for Liverpool to say that they haven't been investing enough, they then also need to exaggerate how much City has been investing, right? So to justify their argument and to claim like the disadvantage, to claim the underdog, to claim it was never an even playing field, they need to prop up how much City spends because they talk about City spending like it was the early days. They talk about the City spending like when it was Pep getting the players that he needed early in his arrival. They talk like that as opposed to what realistically has been happening the last 3-4 years. Now that things have leveled out in terms of the strategy's there, the sustainability's there. So they're going to talk about early City buying, and then they're also going to exaggerate how little FSG has spent within their club, within their community.
But have you noticed it's only come up since they were doing bad in the league?
Yes, another excuse. We're speaking the same thing, and I know.
I mean, the 9th or 10th, and suddenly now FSG are crap and get them out. I'm not being funny. 2 years ago, when they won the league or whenever it was all happy days. We're buying Van Dijk, we're buying Jota, we're buying this, that, and the other, and everyone's an happy bunny. And now this is what I mean. I said this 3 months ago. These are the same Liverpool fans who told us they were the world's greatest football club 3 months ago, that They were winning everything. Everyone should have been on top money. They had the best. This is Klopp, and Carl even saying this because we laughed about it. Klopp, who told everyone he had the best player in every position.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, they've gone to 9th in the league. And it's all doom and gloom. We don't spend, and my midfield's old and crap.
They go from doing things the best, the best scouting, the best net spend, doing things responsibly. They're doing everything the best. To then they fall short, they lose, pursuing a quad, and now it's been the worst. Get them out. Now we could talk about this mental gymnastics for hours, and I love the interaction. Again, if you're new to the channel, you not only subscribe to my channel, subscribe to Pitch Points. Let me actually make this large on the screen. Subscribe to Pitch Points. Find them on YouTube. Easy search and subscribe. True City Fan, Mancunian Way. And then on Twitter, look for Adam. I think Adam's handle is Manchester_19, I believe. But you'll definitely find him and give him a follow. Now, to lead into all of this, I talked about the whole rebrand. I talked about how clubs this offseason, there was the whole rebrand with regards to United, Ten Hag. They're going to be strategic. They're not going to be just splashing the cash. I know that they splashed cash when the when the Glazers out movement happened, but that's another story. We had Liverpool. They went from pursuing the quad to then challenging again to now oil money, pursuing oil money. I'm going to deal with Chelsea right now. And this may come across harsh. Forgive me with regards to how I describe this, but no offense. Chelsea for years, under different ownership, one would even say current ownership, have had no qualms going through managers. They've had no qualms, all right? They were supposed to be looking things differently, looking to settle down. All right. There's many descriptions, but if you want to be crude but not crude, they were slutty. Chelsea were slutty with their managers. They went through managers real easy, and sluttiness can be attributed to male and female, so don't call me sexist. Chelsea were very slutty with their managers. Under Todd Bowley, they said, you know what? Tuchel's not the guy. 5-year investment with Potter. Let's move forward. Chelsea fans were all excited. Todd Bowley coming in. They understood Abramovich had to go out, but Todd Bowley's there. Hey, he's got the financials. This thing's going to work. As much as the rebrand was that Chelsea were going to settle down, Chelsea were going to change from being a hoe to a housewife or house husband, pardon the description. It's not the case. Chelsea fans are they're fighting their nature. Chelsea fans are fighting that urge to be slutty. They're fighting it, but I'm already hearing that they want to go back to the streets. Carla, am I crazy? Am I wrong to be saying that Chelsea fans, they did want to commit and settle down, but they're ready to slut out again?
The two fan bases within Chelsea. There's some who saying give him time to rebuild and rebrand. There's others who couldn't care less for this guy, Potter. They don't feel that he is not big enough for the club, and I tend to agree with them. I don't think Potter is big enough for Chelsea Football Club, in my opinion, because the analogy that uses is, imagine that it's a championship round of 16. They have all the managers come to Lyon in Nice in France, or Nyon in France, right? And around the table, you have Ancelotti, Guardiola, Klopp, you have Conte, you have all these guys, Spalletti. Then up comes Graham Potter. And they look at him and say, dude, what have you won in your entire life? Oh, I was at Brighton. I built Brighton up. What have you won, brother? And he can't answer. And they all turn their backs, walk away, and have the conversation. Right?
Yes, but now I would challenge and say, but shouldn't that be the Arteta sitting at the same table and I'm gonna prove my way? Wouldn't that fall under the same guise for Potter? Like, I know he doesn't deserve to sit at the table yet, but he needs to prove himself, and that they should look at that model with regards to.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But right now, if Arteta went to the Champions League table of champions with the managers, at least he can say, "Look at my resume so far." There's some measure of respect there, right?
Mhm.
Top of the table is banging.
I feel like
Yeah,
I feel
for
like
about 6 months.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry,
all
say
he
that?
can offer, though. He can only offer it for 6 months.
He can
Well,
only-
3
yeah,
months.
They'll give him a crumb. They'll give him a crumb, but at least he can still have a conversation. I used to work for Pep, so there's still that. Hey, I have that pedigree from Guardiola because I worked with him for a year. I was a Centurion with him for a year as an assistant manager.
Well, you see what I'm getting at with the sluttiness. Like, Chelsea fans, they want to be with a manager that's got the Rolex, that's established, and he's a you know
The only thing that annoys me about many in the fan base, not all, many, is that we warned them about Raheem Sterling. I got slapped black and blue because I told them Raheem, in my opinion, was over the hill in terms of his best days, in my opinion, were with City.
I'm doing my best not to get triggered. Yeah, go ahead.
Right? I know.
No, I'm good. I'm good. I'm a host.
I'm trying to be
I'm
kind,
hosting.
right?
So no, you're good. You're good. Talk
But,
freely.
but
No, we're good.
when Potter's playing Raheem as a wing back, and he takes him out after 60 minutes, I mean, what's Raheem thinking in his mind? What the hell did I sign up for?
Yes, and this is where I'm with you. When you pointed out Sterling going to Chelsea, yeah, that's not a good fit. It's not going to suit him well. The pieces that they have, he's not going to succeed. I'm with you there, and that was also him making that move. And here's where it's so difficult for players. That's him making the move when Tuchel's the manager. Now he's there at Chelsea. May have been the right decision at the time for him, but I'm sure he did not expect to be managed by Potter. And Potter's had him play in all kinds of different positions while he's trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
I mean, the only
crazy
thing
over
there
there.
is that, I mean, if you know, when you have an agent who's experienced, the agent knows the kind of club you're going to. The agent knows the DNA of the club. It's a club that hires and fires. Nothing's going to change that DNA. So you should expect that Tuchel was never going to see out his contract. At some point, he was going to go.
And that's where the rebrand. Yeah, that's where I was talking about this off-season rebranding with regards to Chelsea, trying to settle down, trying to not be in the streets anymore. They can't change who they are. The DNA is to go through managers. Tuchel was there, played 2 games, I believe, and he's out the door. Potter's trying to do his thing. Carl brought up a good point. Doesn't quite have the resume. Chelsea fans, they want status. They don't just date anybody. They're not going to date. They're not going to date the young man working in the stock room. Working in behind warehouse, trying to build himself out while going through school. They want the established guy that has the resume, has the penthouse. So
the issue, Vader, that's coming, the massive issue right now, Arsenal and Newcastle are a massive problem to Liverpool and Chelsea.
Talk about that, yes, and Martin, I want you to chime in that as well.
Because of the fact that in order for you to get players like Bellingham and all these players that they want, all these Osimhen, all these guys that they want, you have to either win the Champions League or be in top 4. Right? It ain't coming to you if you're in Europa League. It's not happening. Okay? Newsflash, Chelsea fans. Bellingham, Osimhen are not going to go to Chelsea Football Club if you are not in the Champions League. And right now, Arsenal and Newcastle are punching way above their weight, and they're taking those 2 spots right now at this point in time. If Chelsea does not finish on a Potter in the Champions League, he's not staying at Chelsea Football Club. Oh no! If he comes 5th or 6th or 7th in the Europa League, he ain't staying.
So they won't do. And I'm gonna throw this to you, Carl, because the comment just on screen, and I'll read it out. But you don't think that they'll show the same patience like Arsenal did Arteta?
Now, you know why? It goes back to what we talked about, that the wages to income issue. Right now, they're at 113%. They cannot afford not to be in the UCL.
They have to win.
They have to win. They have to be in top 4.
Okay.
It all goes back to that financial, the new FFP rule that says you must be, right, 70% wages to income. Right now, they're at 113%. That's a 40%.
Well, you can have 90% in the first year, can't you?
90% in the first year. So right now, they're 23% over the limit. If they're not in the Champions League, all of a sudden, they don't get the revenue. All of a sudden, that gap widens again.
Fair enough.
See, I've got a different take on Chelsea.
Okay.
Because you just said then they're used to the Rolex.
Yeah, they're sluts.
How many Rolex managers have they been through? Listen, we could sit here and name 10, 12.
I don't think my stream could be long enough for that.
No, but they see what I mean. The one guy who actually brought them what they all wanted, the Champions League, was Roberto Di Matteo. This is you look at Newcastle right now. The guy, it's Eddie Howe doing the job. So to me, I think this is the problem. There's not Chelsea haven't got many more elite managers to go to anymore. They can't go to anybody else. Who do they go to? Zidane, Pep ain't on the table. Klopp won't leave. So they haven't got another elite man. They've done the Ancelotti. They've done the Conte. They've done the Mourinho.
Martin, you're saying you're telling me that Chelsea's gone through everybody.
Virtually. They haven't honestly. They haven't got that many more managers to go through in terms of a Rolex. The problem is Graham Potter has come in at a time where they had an owner who thought he was a kid in a sweet shop who'd just go out and buy everybody, and thought it was Championship manager, and thought he could he got a little bit giddy because Champ Manager was coming out on a console, and he got a little bit giddy and thought he was playing it in real life, and went and bought a load of people and said to Potter, there you go.
Yeah.
And Potter's probably thinking, hang on a minute, this ain't going to work like this. Because for me, Potter shouldn't have gone to Chelsea. I mean, funnily enough, I would have loved Graham Potter at City. City was set up for a Graham Potter to come in and play a very similar attacking brand, passing style of football. It was all set up, ready to roll. No sort of qualms going in. Chelsea, I genuinely, I'm confused by them because I don't know where they go. If they sack Potter now, what you've just told everyone as Chelsea is, forget any young up-and-coming manager. That's off the table now because they'll never go to Chelsea. They'll never go because they'll just, I'll lose 5 games and I'm out the door. Forget it. Unless they're going for a severance package.
So, you know what, Martin, you know what I've also realised with Chelsea is that rather than looking at players that will be, say, beneficial for the team, like similar to what we do, we look at players that will be beneficial to the team and will offer the team something quality-wise. Not players that are, say, great individually, because that's not going to help you individually. Maybe that might help you in certain competitions, but
apparently they were doing that. Apparently they were doing that when the transfer ban lifted. They were getting players that would suit Chelsea, not necessarily Lampard as a manager, but again, I think with regards to these rebrands and telling the stories just to let things fly, that's what we've gotten to. I want to throw this out to Carl and Martin and Adam as well. I know so Druv goes, can you or Carl give some insight on Joe Shields? And I'll just say this: I think Joe Shields is a top-notch scout, like talent scout, or what's the word I'm looking for?
I think Martin,
recognizer of talent, right? Like
Martin can answer that question better than I can. Martin.
He is very good at his job. Very, very good at his job.
Okay.
What Potter has done is Potter has not unintentionally lifted, probably to the detriment of Brighton. He's literally lifted everything from Brighton to Chelsea. That's not gone down well with Brighton. It's not gone down well with Chelsea because I think some of their fans, listen, Carl made a very good point earlier about Sterling. Chelsea fans don't have patience. They just don't. They want everything yesterday. And Carl said,
they're slutty. They're slutty. We've established that.
Yeah, going to Chelsea was the wrong move because they won't even give him the time to sort of settle in. Chelsea fans won't give Sterling a year to settle. They want him there and now. Here we go. Same with Timo Werner. Same with everyone. And then they were the fans who came up with the excuse of the Bundesliga tax. All simply because what they wanted to do was blame the Bundesliga because all of a sudden now their Timo Werner and all these players weren't working.
Right.
Fine. Now, and Joe Shields is very, very good at his job. Very, very good at his job. But he's got to be allowed to do the job. If you are not, you've got to remember, he's had no transfer window yet.
Yeah.
From what, it's like Trossard. Apparently, they've nailed on nearly Trossard to go.
To go from
to
Brighton
go to Brighton.
Chelsea?
Yeah. That will be done. That's not done. That's done with a lot of purpose behind it.
Yeah.
Will Chelsea fans accept a Trossard? Manchester City, we can sit here as fans and we go, do you know what? Calvin Phillips, decent midfielder from Legion. This is the difference. City aren't bothered, like Adam just said. We don't look at a player because he's a name and he's come from a name club. Yeah. We buy a player that suits their system and he's happy to, they're happy to sit on the bench for a little bit. We're not expecting them to hit the heights straight away. God knows how many players have we had that haven't hit the heights in the first year, first 18 months.
Yeah, and it
but
also
we're patient with them.
Yeah, and it also goes to the point where on a few streams with the crew, with many of the members here as well as Patrick, where you guys have looked at profile of talent. You've looked at what they actually do within the teams that they have and the qualities that they have to see whether they fit within City when there's rumors around them. So yeah, I hear that point perfectly. I wanted to also, this happens a lot in American sports, but I don't see it in football. And you can tell me, Martin, if it's like a culture thing or if it's maybe something that hasn't been thought of yet. But head coaches, and it could go from NBA to NFL, but head coaches will sometimes lose a job and then take an assistant coaching position at like elsewhere. And I don't see that within English football. I don't see what would be pretty cool would be, again, if Potter was identified as the talent, that he had a year or two as an assistant coach under Pep before Pep would move on or any manager would move on. I don't see that type of coaching tree happen. And is it a culture thing? Is it what do you think? What do you think?
It nearly happened at City under Brendan Rodgers, under Mancini was coming in as part of the backroom staff.
Okay.
And the idea was to basically promote from within. Brendan Rodgers was going to learn
before his Liverpool appointment.
Yes, yes, for a year or two, and then come in and take the job. It is done in England. It is done in England probably more than anywhere else.
Okay.
But the problem is you've got, and it's so hard to say this, and this is why I love Manchester City so much, is we do it in the right way with the right respect and remembering the cultures that we've got as a nation, as a fan base, as everything. Our owners could have come in and quite easily done a Chelsea and gone, we want him. And at the beginning, we did.
Yeah.
We went after Kaka. We went after John Terry. We tried to spend all these big boys. And then, if you remember, we stopped. We took a breath under Pellegrino. And we went, we want to do the holistic approach now.
Yeah.
We've never changed from that holistic approach. Chelsea have now tried to do a complete 180, trying to do the holistic approach. But I think there's a comment you just said about about Trossard.
Yeah.
He won't be accepted. That's
Yeah.
the problem. He will
And
not be accepted because he's from Brighton. It's like us with the Calvin Phillips. No thanks, he's from Leeds. But that's not good enough. See you later.
Yeah, but it's also because if Cucurella had come to Chelsea, like Bravo would mention, if he came to Chelsea and he was cooking, then they would be like, okay, bring on another one. But because he has been underwhelming, it's like they're not going to accept another Brighton player because now the expectation is you're not going to look as good as you did prior.
He was horrible in that game. He was horrible.
Oh my God, yeah. It looked like the moment. You know what? It looked like the moment was too big. It looked like many of the Chelsea
the guy
players
was completely. I mean, it's horrible.
Yeah.
And we complained about Sergio Gomez that needs time. I mean, Sergio Gomez looks like a proper left back compared to that guy.
Well, you know.
No, I know you say that, Cal, but he was probably one of the best left backs last season in the league.
I know, but so what happened?
Everyone was. It's just again. It's back to the settling in. He's been there for 3 months.
No, I get it. We get the whole 3 months and whether he's going to be like at his quality every single game. But that game against his former club and just even with regards to his ability,
I think it was everything. I think it was everything. Listen, I go on a show where there's a Brighton fan included, and he said it was like walking into Galatasaray in the prime. It was a cauldron. The minute they got off the coach, they got the Brighton fans were ready. And I mean, they were going to make it the worst cauldron they'd ever walked in. And I think they all just... Cucurella was getting stick from the minute he stepped off the coach. Potter got stick from the minute he got off the coach. Brighton fans are very, very angry at the moment because of what Potter has done. Because he's literally lifted everything from Brighton.
Yeah.
And took them to Chelsea. They think he's destroyed their football club.
Well, you know what? To use Carl's analogy earlier when we were talking about Liverpool and home ownership, it's like you don't disclose that. Well, you're supposed to disclose that you're going to leave the fridge or chandelier and things of that nature. But he just took everything out of there while he was leaving and left them bare. And you can understand why Brighton have that animosity towards him. He didn't leave them for any level of continued success. I want to say this before we actually go on to the next topic. And Carl, I know you interact with many Chelsea fans. I had the pleasure of meeting Ty yesterday, and I know you have many Chelsea friends. Do you think that there would be an acceptance of let's kind of grind it out and possibly not be in top four? Or do you think the fan base themselves now have had an expectation, a standard, nothing less than top four? If you can't do that, you're out the door.
Is that for me, Vader?
Yeah, that's for you. Sorry.
They have no choice. They have to make top four, Vader. It's not in the question now because you're competing with other clubs for resources, players, and money. You can't afford not to be in top four. Now, in 2 years' time, it becomes top five, so that it's easier because of the new UEFA rules, right? But right now, for next season, you have to be there.
Okay.
The Champions League is, the group stage, because City topped their group in the group stage of the Champions League, they get 18 million pounds just topping the group so far in all the games we played, all the match day revenue, all that, 18 million. If they're not in there, that's 18 million less that they'll get. They have to.
Okay.
That's
all right. I hear that. Okay. Let me do this. I'm going to make this nice and clean. Vader games. Okay. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but it's something that we do need to address. I don't think any of us, and rivals, neutrals, I don't even think Arsenal fans thought that they were going to start the season and remain at the level that they've been at. But I'm going to be honest with you. When we were talking about the whole rebrand and now we're leading to Arsenal. Arsenal, from what I understand, fan base wise, many of my interactions with them, is that they're quick to say, we are back. We're quick to say that we're getting top 4. We're quick to say that we are challenging. They've been very quick to be boastful and committed and direct. They are currently, and let me see if I can cleanly put this on screen. They are currently top of the league. I'm not sure if you, let me see. Let me go. They are currently, and let me slide over, they are currently top of the league. 13 games played just like us. They have 11 wins, 1 draw, 1 loss. We have 10 wins, 2 draws, and 1 loss. But I've seen a stat recently on socials talking about no team with this many points, this late in the season, has gone on to not win the league, right? Statistically, the probability of all this stuff, no team has scored this many points, and they're currently at 34, to not go on to win the league. Arsenal fans have rebranded themselves, many of them. Many of them are talking about, we're taking this game by game. I'm thrown by this. Carl, Martin, Adam. I'm going to throw this to you, Adam. I'm thrown by this. Arsenal fans are saying they're taking it one game at a time. What's going on right now?
You know what is, Victor? I'm just letting them just enjoy their time. And I've always said to Arsenal fan, I've used that analogy of the elephant on the tree. We all know how the story ends. The elephant falls off the branch and collapses on the floor. And we all know that. So what I'm gonna just simply do is wait until when we play them, and then let's see then. Let's see if you can really get fight the fight that you're talking, because that's the time that where we hit the ground running and go say on the 20-game winning streak, and let's see if they can do the same thing.
So hold on, Adam. Are you actually interacting with some Arsenal fans that are saying they're winning the league? Like
Yeah.
they're okay.
I was on a space with an Arsenal fan who said to me, "Oh, Adam, yeah, you're not winning the league. You are not winning the league." So I just said to him, "Okay, I'm gonna keep my mouth quiet." Yeah. And I used the analogy of the elephant on the tree. We all know the result of it. Let's see whether you win.
Now, I'm going to say this before I throw this to Carl. I know that three-peating in this league is extremely difficult. It's only been done by one other club. I know how difficult it is. I know the pursuit from a manager, and Carl and Martin, I know you guys deal with coaching. To motivate your squad to not only do it once, to do it twice, but to do it for a third time has got to be extremely difficult and taxing. So I know the pursuit for this three-peat, how difficult it is. I do find it funny. And again, Adam's actually having a different interaction because many of the fans that have been very boasty about things have actually been like, you know what, not declaring anything until after January, until after the World Cup before they say anything. They're just taking it one game at a time. But to hear that some fans are being so direct to say that they're winning the league, what do you think of that mentality? Are they being premature to claim that? Yeah, this to you, Carl. Are they being premature, or what do you think?
No, they know they're not winning the league, but they have to talk because they're top of the league, and that's fair. They know they're not winning the league. Right? The stat about no team has gotten this many points this time and not won the league. Well, the problem is you have a beast that's right 2 points behind you. Not 10, not 12, not 15 points, 2 points. Now, if they're smart, Arsenal fans, go ask Liverpool what it's like to go week after week for months, 14 games win, 18 games win. You won't be able to keep up. You will not. And the worst part about this is, in those 2 years, we didn't even have Erling Haaland. We didn't have Julian Alvarez. We had Gabriel Jesus, who we clearly see can't score a goal to save his life. And we had Sterling, who we know is a good runner, but can't finish. We saw this week, Erling Haaland comes on, bang, go, game changes, goal, penalty. Julian Alvarez, bang, one touch, bang, goal. Efficiency. Not as much control, but more efficiency. And there's another argument too is, when is the last time any club in the history of the Premier League has been in the Europa League and won the title? It's never happened.
That is scary for them. Yes.
Never happened, right?
Thursday, and they have to play Thursday, play Sunday.
You have to chase. Oh, and by the way, you have to play City twice, which could be City could be 6 points ahead of you. Yeah, and you have to go to Newcastle, and you have to go to Anfield, which we've been to. Right?
Yeah.
So let's listen. My friends who are Arsenal fans, they didn't debate this with, because they know that this is a different proposition. This is not 1984 with United running everybody down with 75 points. No, they know these guys are animals. This manager, Guardiola, and this team, they know how to deal with Arteta. They know what happens.
Veta, you know how I like to describe City and Arsenal? Arsenal are the Chihuahua, and we are the cheetah, in a sense. It's like the Chihuahua that, these Chihuahuas, they love to bark, all of that shit. And they think that they think that they're the big dog, but really and truthfully, the Chihuahua is the small dog. And we're somewhat like, say, like the pit bull. And that Chihuahua thinks that it will destroy the pit bull. And really and truthfully, that Chihuahua knows it has no chance against the pit bull. The pit bull will kill it.
Yeah. I hear you. I hear you. I'm gonna throw this to you, Martin. I'm not sure if you can see this, but I'm gonna read it. Charlie goes, I'm with what Jamie Carragher said. Just wait until we get to near the end of the season and see how they perform under the pressure. Look at last season. They fell under pressure. They didn't get top four. Now, I agree with him. I agree that Arsenal need to be battle tested, and they haven't been. So I'm curious to see how they deal with that late season. You have to answer what City just did in terms of winning and so on. But I want to throw this at you with regards to this question. Do you think that Jesus and Zinchenko and their winning mentality over the years, being with City, will maybe help them better close out the season?
I mean, I think it helped them make top four, right?
Okay.
See,
but in terms of winning the title,
I'm a bit different.
In terms of winning the title, you have De Bruyne, you have Gundogan, you have Bernardo Silva. How many titles?
Listen, Carl, I agree. But the one thing Arsenal have got, I was totally with Adam and Carl until last week.
What happened last week?
What happened last week?
But no, and I know you're going to say Chelsea are in a bad run of form. Arsenal don't historically win at Chelsea.
They do, actually.
No, but the thing is, Carl, they're doing something now that we did.
Arsenal
winning.
Oh, you mean like getting a result despite? I mean, they got a result despite not. Okay.
No, but the simple fact is they are going game by game, and they're ticking it off, and they're winning. That I'm not saying that they will win the league.
Yeah.
I'm now taking them a lot more seriously than I've ever done before, because they are doing something that does win your titles.
Okay, let me ask you this.
They are just going game by
Martin,
game, and they're winning.
The only problem, Martin, is when you look at the goals that they get. Xhaka, Saka once in a while, the number nines are there. They do not score, and there will come a time like against Southampton where they're not on at 100% and they will drop.
But the times that we will do that.
What City do now is that we don't have a good game. Erling Haaland shows up, bang, goal. Alvarez comes, bang.
No, I understand that, but who's to say we don't have another Newcastle or Aston Villa in us?
They have to go to Newcastle. I can guarantee.
All right, let me say this. Let me say this, because this is what I think might be another way to look at it. If it's let's all assume it's going to be us two going neck and neck.
I don't think it is, frankly. I don't think it is.
I think it'll be closer than what I originally thought. I do.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
I think it's probably like 10 points.
10 points difference. I would love a 10 points difference, especially late in the season, because then we don't have to worry about those games and how crunched up they're going to be and how important closing out the season is. But I want to mention this, because the standings is up on screen. I'm not sure if you guys can see it, but I'm going to talk out loud. We got Arsenal, City, Newcastle, Tottenham, United, and Brighton is actually sixth. Is there going to be pressure from the third place team against the second place team? Let's
They can't be because you have 20. There's a 5-point difference with the game in hand, so that's like 8 points.
Yeah.
Right. So the pressure is really not going. The pressure is Arsenal going to Newcastle, right, with 3 games left in the season. When Newcastle can be top 4, that's pressure.
Okay.
Right. And the week before, it's Arsenal having to play Chelsea and City consecutively. Chelsea, City, Newcastle.
I love it. Okay.
Can I just say one thing? And the reason why I have a little bit, I know what Carl's saying, and I do agree with him most of it. But there was a time when Manchester City, when we went against United in that head-to-head, and we won on, by skin of our teeth in the Aguero moment.
Yeah.
Everyone thought we were going to drop at some point.
Yeah, Martin, but
throughout the whole season. No, 1 minute, everyone. No, and I know, but
it's not Mancini's.
We can't just.
It's not Mancini.
We have said
can Arsenal have a Leicester season? Not saying winning, but
of course they could.
The problem, Martin, is, go ahead, Martin. Go ahead.
No, because this is what I said about the World Cup year.
No,
this World Cup year.
No,
here's what I don't like about Arsenal. Let me say this real quick. The reason why I mentioned can Arsenal have a Leicester year, not so much with regards to winning it, but being let me find the right word. No, not disruptive, being underestimated. Because you see how teams already approach us being like, we can't get embarrassed. We have to play defensive. We have to limit as many chances as City gets. I don't think that level of respect has been attributed to Arsenal, and it definitely wasn't versus Leicester during their amazing season, right? It was like they were coming in and messing teams up because they were surprised by the quality that they exhibited. That's where I'm like, will teams wise up to the quality of what Arsenal has and actually make it difficult for them versus playing open and making life easy for them in terms of a head-to-head?
To me, the issue comes down to head-to-head. It's going to come down to head-to-head. Always comes down to head-to-head.
Okay.
Right? The title it's going to come down to head-to-head. What do we do against them? What do we do against us? I back us to get 6 points against them.
It's like
I hear that.
It's like what Hugo said. He said, look, like similar. He said it's similar to how we did it to Liverpool, where we had to do the head-to-head. Where I think we drew in one of the games and we drew the other one as well. In a sense, we have to beat Arsenal in both of these games, get the 6 points in both of those games and kill them in both of these games. Where we win both games, we get that 6 points.
That's it.
And then that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, no, I agree. But again, you look at our toughest away game last year, gave us the most problems.
So this idea about let me just kill this idea about the World Cup. Let me just kill this idea.
Hold on, let me read it out loud. So Charlie comments.
I've heard a lot of City fans talk about this stuff, and it's beginning to irritate me. And let me
one second, Carl. Yeah, Charlie goes, with having a World Cup in the middle of the season, you don't know how teams will come back, including City. Teams may have injuries or just show a different style of play with starting a new season again. And it's a point. I'm going to throw this to Carl.
Yeah,
he has a different take. Yeah.
If you think that a well-run organization are not planning for contingencies, then you don't respect your organization. I'm sorry. If you think this is just going to Sunday pub team come out or someone's injured, look, get somebody. These guys are going to plan for every single contingency there is to do. City are going everything, every detail is planned. Every single detail is planned.
In what way, Carl? Because Pep's already said we're not signing anyone in January.
Every single detail is planned. I'm telling
you.
No,
I know what you're saying, but we've already come out and said we ain't going to the well in January.
Yeah, that's what he said the last time we got Jack Grealish, right? Right, so
no Jack Grealish coming in the summer. Yeah. No, I know what you're saying, but I'm just trying to make a point of it. The World Cup does, because like we talked about on my show the other night, we don't know what Martinez might turn around, get KDB, knack him out, and KDB comes back.
Yeah, but we won the title without KDB. Season out. 18-19, no KDB. We won the title with 98 points. Again.
No, I understand, Carl. I understand that, but we're dismissing it for week after week.
What I'm saying is that the club and the manager have been through all kinds of stuff, right? They have the experience and the know-how.
I understand that,
for every
Carl.
contingency.
But so have Jesus, Arteta, and Zinchenko.
Are you really comparing Jesus?
You can't underestimate.
Are you really comparing Jesus and Zinchenko to De Bruyne and Haaland? Are you serious?
No, I'm not. But what I'm comparing to is that they are serial winners, and they will take that serial winning attitude into the Arsenal dressing room.
Martin,
they will, whether we like that or not. They will.
We have 23 serial winners versus 2.
Yeah, I'm going to say this. I think that the addition, the exit from our 2 players and the addition to Arsenal does help them. It does help them tremendously because there is an attitude, there is a mentality, there's an actual experience that.
How many games has Zinchenko played, Vader?
He hasn't played many to this point, but yeah. But what I'm talking about is not only in the dressing room, but later in the season, I think his qualities are going to be needed. I'm not putting that out as the difference maker to why we're now at a disadvantage versus them, but I think it does improve them on how poorly they finished last season and crumbled. Now,
Vader, if we go back to Arsenal last season, right? We all thought they were in the top 4, right?
Yeah. And I'm mad. I'm mad that they had me actually come out on a few of my shows saying that Arsenal were going to finish top 4.
Vader, I'm going to play devil's. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Carl. Were you done?
3 games in a row and give up the 4th spot to Tottenham.
Yeah.
To Tottenham. Tottenham.
No, I hear you. So, but and I'm gonna hold them accountable for how they ended last season for sure. But then I'm also going to give them the credit for how different they do look this season. Adam, what were you going to say?
Don't get me wrong. I don't want to be. I mean, I respect what they have done.
Yes.
But the reality is, City are at a completely different level.
100%.
Think about the Fulham game.
Yes. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. 100%. 100%.
Go down to 10 men, right, with 60 minutes left to play and win against a team that's 7th in the table.
Yeah.
We underestimate what we can do. And sometimes it kind of pisses me off.
No. I'm not underestimating what we can do. What I'm saying is though, but you can't rule out that sometimes we can have a brain fart.
I'm going to say this. I think also Pep City, we were better off talking about not spending in these media press conferences, post-game conferences, than we are the opposite. Because the speculation, the rumors, the TMZ effect with regards to who we might buy, we don't need that. So Pep saying we're not spending, that's the right way to go. We know that might change, but him saying we're not spending is the right way to go.
Historically, we don't really spend in January, though. We don't.
Historically, we don't. But because it is a World Cup injected in the middle of the season, what's historically the norm may change. I'm going to throw this to Carl. Sorry, Charlie had a point up here, and I'm going to say
I'm going to answer Charlie's comments. First of all, Pep's conference, he said we're not selling. He said we're not buying. He said we're not selling. Go watch it again. He said not selling.
No, Carl, he has said that we're not going to make any moves in January.
Right. To Charlie's point. So
let me read it out loud. Hold on, 1 second, Carl. 1 second. Charlie goes. You don't know what's going to happen. Fair enough. We don't know what's going to happen. But the first ever time the season has been disrupted in the middle. That is a fair point. But
let me answer the point, though. Right.
Absolutely. Yeah. Go ahead.
In England, in the Premier League, we have the Christmas period. Right. Every 2-3 days. You're telling these players won't come back? Having that in their DNA to be ready to play, of course they will. Of course they will. I actually think this may actually help some of the players coming back because they'll be fit and they'll be focused. Some will win the World Cup. That may help them. Some will lose and get out in the group stages. They'll have more time
and get a battery in their back. Yeah, some will lose and have a battery in their back because they actually want to make something of the season. Yeah.
Not everybody's going to get to the final or the quarterfinals or semifinals. It's 2 weeks, and then you have a break for 2 weeks. Yeah. At least half of the teams will have a 2-week break.
I love it. I love it.
That they're going to be tired for
I'm with you.
After the first 2 games, literally half the teams are going out anyway, right?
No, that's fair.
They have the quarterfinals. Another 8 teams are going to go out.
Look, I respect Arsenal, but I don't see them anywhere causing a threat to us. Look, potentially, look, you know, I could see them potentially doing maybe say an FA Cup or a Carabao Cup they win. But you to say that you're going to be challenging against a guy, it's like, you know how I like to explain it. It's like we are like Floyd Mayweather, 50-0, yeah, and you're telling me a guy in what in like I'll explain. I'll give an example of Arsenal like Jake Paul or something like that. You're telling me
I'm,
a Jake Paul is going to knock out a Floyd Mayweather? It's impossible.
Well, let me
no,
let me
I
ask
hear.
let me ask
I'm
Charlie this
with you.
question.
I'm with you. I just want one thing. One thing. I want. Again, I'm not saying that I'm stressing sleepless nights, but I do want to make sure that the rest of the league show Arsenal the right respect, because I don't want them creeping into some easy wins and some
There's no
unsuspecting
see,
wins.
Vader. There will be easy wins. That's what the league does. The league will twerk for whoever is competing against City. That's what
I
the league
hate
does.
that though, Carl. I hate it,
But that's
man.
what they do to Vader. That's what they do. The league will twerk for whoever is contending against City. That's what they did to Liverpool. That's what they did to Chelsea that year. That's what they will do. The question becomes, when we play them twice, get your 6 points, kill them off.
Yeah, that's going to be a great matchup. That's going to be a
Period.
great matchup when it does happen.
That's it.
Let me throw this real quick. Let me make it clean. The last topic of the show, and I'm excited for it. And we kind of alluded to it, but let me do this cleanly.
Vader games.
Okay, let me adjust my seating again. All right, now the last topic of the show, and I want to thank the panel members. I want to thank everyone that's been in the comments. And if you're watching this on a rerun, I'm showing my age. If you're watching this on demand, which is present day, video on demand, I appreciate it. Hit me up in the comments, hit me with the likes, and if you subscribe, that means the world to me. Now, I should have kept this on screen actually, but I talked about the top four. We see, and I'm gonna say it out loud again. We got Arsenal 1, City 2, Newcastle 3, Tottenham 4, United 5, Brighton 6, Chelsea 7, Liverpool 8, Fulham 9th, Crystal Palace 10. I'm actually gonna put this on screen. But let me ask you guys. Let me put the actual topic on screen. Who's hurt? I poorly wrote that. Terrible. Who hurts the most being out of the top four? Who hurts the most when the season is said and done? We know the financial implications. We know the ability to attract players. We know the ability to strengthen for the next upcoming season. Maybe this could actually spark into another show moving forward, continued discussion. But top of your head, I'm gonna throw this first at you, Adam. Top of your head, who do you think not being in the top four at the end of this season hurts the most with regards to strengthening and being in a position to actually compete the following season? Who can't afford not to be in top four?
There's two obvious culprits. That's Liverpool and Chelsea. These are the two culprits that they cannot afford not to get Champions League, because if they want to get the players that they want, that's the first thing a player is going to look at. So you're telling me a Jude Bellingham is going to go to a Liverpool side that does not have Europa League football? He will choose the Europa League football over a team potentially like City who have Champions League, who can offer him Champions League football. And Jude Bellingham will have to be an idiot or a retard to choose Europa League football over Champions League football.
All right, I'm going to deal with that first point with regards to Liverpool. You're mentioning some of the targets that they have. If they're not in top four, they can almost kiss those targets goodbye, because why would the targets be attracted to go to them versus someone else if they're not in top four? Martin, are you in agreement with that? Do you think that's the biggest, kind of like the biggest issue with regards to Liverpool and not being out of top four?
No, because the only thing is because players will still choose Liverpool because of the club itself. We've seen that with United. Everyone said United not being in the top four, they won't get players. And you know, the likes of Pogba all went there. And it will happen. You know, Chelsea still got players when they were in the top four. It becomes harder to get your players, and you have to say to oh, this is a one-off. You know, we bring you in and we get back to the Champions League. You sort of do it that way, and you give them an extra bonus if they get there. You sweeten the pot in the contract, basically. But United and Liverpool do still have that historic pull, because they just do. There are players out there that dream of playing for Liverpool or United. That's just the way it is, sadly. As there are now players who would love to play for City, you know, because they grow up City fans. And Liverpool have an issue in terms of the money they would get generated out of not being in the Champions League.
Yeah.
Probably. I don't think it affects the transfers so much, because I think they could get around that. The problem where you come is, I've just said, is about the income, the money that they would lose out on. Because we've also seen as well the other side of it, where United didn't get in the top four, and they went and spent 200, 300 million or whatever it was to get back into the top four.
Yeah, but that's
so
United
it can also
spending.
have the opposite effect and go out and spend a boatload of money again.
Yeah, but Liverpool spending out of the top four, that'd be different. Would be different.
Do you know who I think is actually, well, funnily, Chelsea for me are probably the ones who it would suffer the most because of the way Chelsea are.
Yeah, Adam mentioned them as well. So
the way Chelsea are and the way their model is built on. Chelsea don't have probably the pull that Liverpool and United have, if that makes sense. Liverpool and United can still get away with their historic pull with two of the biggest clubs. You know, let's be fair, Liverpool and United historically are the two biggest clubs in England, so they've still got that pull. Chelsea, not so much. Chelsea can't sit there and go, well, come and play for Chelsea, you know, because I don't think they've got that. Did the players dream growing up of playing for Chelsea? No, I don't think so.
Right.
Okay. For your point of pouring them out earlier on.
Exactly. Carl, not being in the top four, who's going to hurt the most? Adam mentioned Liverpool and Chelsea.
Yeah.
And I'm in agreement there. Martin also agreed there with the Chelsea movement. Is there a different club that you would mention, or you'd stick with Chelsea?
I'm with Adam. I think Chelsea and Liverpool. And I think Liverpool because while they're a historic club, if you're going to attract a superstar in the Europa League, you have to pay them a lot of money. They don't have the money to pay huge salaries. That's why they let Martin go. So all of a sudden, who do you get? I mean, even now they have to get Arthur Melo, right? They couldn't go for a proper midfielder like Chouameni because they couldn't afford it. So they're
and we can understand their excitement now because they're probably looking down the road thinking they're not in the top four. And that's why they're so giddy and so excited, cloud nine, wanting new owners, fantasizing about oil money, because they know that if they're going to attract talent, that they're going to need more money to do it.
Yeah. I think Chelsea and Liverpool are the ones who will be affected by this if they don't make the top four. It's too much money at stake.
Okay. No, I'm with you. And I love the convo. I love the perspective. I'm going to. You guys know me. I like to have the conversation. I like to expand on it. I'm going to actually tease a topic for next show. I don't know if it's going to happen this week. It might happen next week. I've been doing one show a week, but I've been lucky enough to actually be a feature on other channels like Pitch Points, like the Mancunian Way. So I think I'm going to keep it as is. But the next show, I am going to talk about who will benefit hugely from being top four. I'm going to talk about who can kind of get that battery in their back, who's going to like skyrocket with the opportunities, the potential of being in top four. Currently, we're seeing Arsenal top of the league. We're seeing Newcastle at third. And United is fifth, but Tottenham's fourth. What could that mean? Who could benefit being top four moving forward? We're going to have that combo next week. I want to thank every one of you on the panel. Adam, your perspective I enjoy often, and Pitch Points and Martin, I learn every time I hear from you guys. So thanks for being on the show. I'm going to do my best to try to do this on the regular, to not only have me diary my football thoughts, but also have the interaction with people within the show in itself. So I want to thank you guys, and I also want to thank everyone that was in the comments early on to show me love before the show even goes live. I always appreciate it. True City fan, Charlie, YSK, and I know FIFA, Bad Boy Billy was in the mix. Cap, you were out there as well, and Coates, everyone in there. If I missed your name, I want to apologize. Druv, my guy, I know Chelsea fan. We're gonna talk more as the season goes on. Edison, as always, Charlie. Thank you, every one of you, and catch me, and to catch me so you don't miss me. Make sure you're following me on Twitter. That's where I'll either retweet or I'll like a tweet that actually mentions where I'm going to be or whether it's my show in itself. So thank you, everyone. Adam, anything you want to shout out or talk about what you got going on later on today or later in the week for those that are listening?
Potentially, I'm gonna do a space. I don't know whether if you guys want me to, I could do a space now for the game tomorrow, or if it's possible, if you guys want, I could do it tomorrow. The space is talking about the game and what will be your, say, potential 11, or what would be your, say, who would you start and who wouldn't you start in in a game against Chelsea. And where you can find me on Twitter and TikTok. My TikTok is the same name as my Twitter name, is Manchester Blue, but the E is not there. Instead of after the U is 19, so there's no E in the blue.
Okay. I messed that up. I said I said Manchester _19, but it's Manchester Blue, no E, 19.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Now, Martin, I know it sounded like you were on the move. I appreciate you being able to be on the show as well. Is there anything you want to shout out, promote, whether it's later on today or later in the week?
Yeah. I mean, if I don't want to do a space, I'm up for that, buddy. Only because I find tomorrow a bit difficult because I'll be at the game. Yeah, tomorrow night we'll be live. Well, I'll do a team news thing before the game, before going into the stadium, and then we'll be doing a post-match show afterwards. Funnily enough, I've just slagged off Chelsea fans, and I'm actually I'm sat next to the Chelsea fans tomorrow night, so that'll be a fun experience. Yeah, and then we're live on Thursday night as well. But a very interesting show.
Martin, you could always order some disguise from Amazon.
Well, Thursday night, and I am just, you don't mind me, mate, promoting this, we're going to talk about Manchester City fans and how, why is there such a divide between a few of us, and how do we close that gap?
Nice. And last, never least, my guy Carl, Pitch Points. Thank you for being on the show. Is there anything you want to mention with regards to later on today, later in the week?
Yeah, I'm just curious. Again, I'm looking forward to this space, Adam and Martin, the show, because I think these next two games with Chelsea is massive, because they come to City and then they go to Newcastle, right? Yeah. If we behave ourselves and we beat them, they have to go to Newcastle and try and win. If they don't win, they go into the World Cup on 4 losses in a row. And that's a long time to stew on that for Graham Potter. So I expect them to come firing tomorrow. I think we need to start the first team. So Adam, whatever space you're on, Martin, if you need me to come on, I can certainly do that. But thanks, Vader, for having me on.
Hey, no,
can I just ask a quick question to Carl? Is he going to boost Sterling tomorrow night? No, I'm joking. I'm triggering. I'm only joking.
I will say this. I want us to play our best. I don't know if I'm going to sound crazy when we jump into space. I know we'll get into it. But early in the show, I said I want our best 11. I want our best 11. I don't want any former players coming back and getting one up on us. I want our best 11, and let's handle business.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Thank you. I won't boo him. I don't boo. I complain.
No, I know you're not. Can I just say, give this lot a lot of love, because Carl, Adam, they do amazing shows, and this is coming from somebody who I am trying to Listen, me and Carl have had debate after debate after debate, but I'll tell you what, I have learned a lot of Carl from the point of a financial point of view and from a fan from abroad, the same with Vader. And I'll tell you what, these guys give you such a good insight, and you need to follow them. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, and show them all a lot of love, because I'll tell you what, they do a fantastic shows for you. They really do.
Appreciate it, my friend. Thank you
Well
so
done, Martin.
much. Everyone in the comments, love as always, my peeps. You know what it is. First things first, my peeps come first. Charlie, last comment of the show goes, what do you think the reception for Sterling will be? I think it's going to be calm. I honestly think it's going to be calm because we have nothing to be upset about, really.
We do. He didn't close his mouth when he left. He didn't close his mouth when he left.
You think the reception is going to be bad?
I think it'll be mixed.
To be honest with you, you know what I can see happening? I can see there'll be a mixture. Some set of fans.
I think some will boo and some will cheer him.
Some will boo him and some will cheer him.
Yeah. That's fair. I'm excited to see what the reaction is myself.
Hop on Twitter.
There's one thing, mate. Our City fans, especially within the stadium, get annoyed at. You don't badmouth the club when you leave. That is the one rule that a lot of City fans have. You don't badmouth the club when you leave.
You know what? I'm going to love to dive deeper into that convo.
I'm setting up your next show.
You are. You know what? Even a convo in the spaces. These are the kind of like the dirty laundry that that many love to discuss. So we're gonna definitely have that happen. I'm so excited for the show. 2 hours, but 2 hours with my guests, with my friends, more importantly. So thank you all, and I'm gonna run real quick to scoop up my kids. It's about that time. So love you all. Tune in next week. Vader Games TV. Why Always Me, episode 57, and give Liverpool their oil money so they have no more excuses. Let's go.
I gotta say one thing. Let's all do Martin a big favor and let's get into 1K for 1K subscribers.
100%. Man should have been there already. So let's continue to promote that. And if you tuned into this channel, tune into his and subscribe. Pitch Points Mancunian Way. Make it happen. Let's go.
Thank you so much.
All right, guys.
Out of here.
Take care, fellas.